Hey gang. In this week's installment of Simple Music Theory for Guitar, we're going to do something extremely simple. This is a technique that's going to make it a lot more easy for you to make statements on the guitar, and it's going to quadruple or sextuple the number of licks that you've got. And here's what it is. Super simple. You take a lick and you simply change the final note that you go to. All right? Now, if you choose it judiciously and you choose it based on some simple theory, you can find a lot that you can do with a very simple lick. All right, let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to take one lick, the lick that we'll dissect up close a little bit later, and I'll show you what I mean. Here's the original lick. Okay, so that's the original lick. And now I'm going to show you the altered lick that I'll talk about, and I'll show you how to do that. Here we go. Okay, so the only difference between the first lick and the second lick was the final note. All right, so I'll give you some handy pointers on how to do that using some really simple theory, and that's about it. Hey, if you like this one, please give it the thumbs up, and if you haven't yet, subscribe for a couple of these every single week. We'll see you up close in just a second. All right, gang, let's get to it right away. I'm going to show you the lick itself, and then we'll show you how to do the variants, okay? So I think that makes the most sense. So the chords really are, and I want to show you that this is what it is. It's basically A minor to a couple of G's, back to that A minor. The key thing is this is over the A minor, so we're going to aim everything for that A minor. I'm not thinking scales, I'm just thinking chords, as you'll see in just a second, okay? So we'll take a lick, and I'm going to play it up in here. This is the position based on this shaped chord, this A minor right here. But we're going to take it all the way up 12 frets, right? So we're playing an octave up. This is the 12th fret right here. All right, so here is the lick. Okay, so let's dissect that just a little bit. There's a couple of, this is all based around this A minor chord right here. Right, so that's on the third string. It's on the, if you will, the fifth string 12th, fourth string 14th, third string 14th, second string 13th, and the first string 12th. That's the A minor chord, okay? So that's the lick is going to be around that. So we're going to start on the 4th at this D on the 12th fret. Okay. And then the key thing is this. So we're bending up on that C, which is the 13th fret, just a little bit, which is the third of the chord, and ending up at the root. All right. Now the last part, which is really the statement part, is this. That's pretty normal, okay? So we're coming up on this D right here, the 15th, bending that up a whole step, bringing it down, and pulling off to the C, right, which is a chord tone. And landing finally on this root right here, which is the third string 14th fret, which is an A. And then we're going to bend up to this note right here. From the from right here, the D, we're going to bend up to that E note. All right, so basically what we're doing is we're just playing around chord tones, and then we're ending up on the E. So one of the things that you can do if you want to get that down, you could practice that lick exactly, and once you get that lick down, you got it, you can move on. But one other thing that you can do is simply note that what you're doing is you're ending that lick right there. You're bending to the E, which is a chord tone of the A minor. All right? So one of the things I do is I start writing down, and I'll show you what I've done, and then we'll test these out. So I write it out. I know this is a bit hard to see because there's a lot of light. There we go, right there. So in an A minor chord, we have the A, which is the first or the root. We have the C, which is a flatted third. We have an E, which is a fifth. And then some other notes that we'll find are kind of interesting, we'll try out, are the G, which is the flatted seventh. The third and the seventh are always awesome tones to try for. So in this case, in a minor chord, we're going to go flatted. So the G is a flatted 7. The B is a ninth. We'll see how that sounds. A ninth is an interesting extension a lot of times, so we'll see how that sounds. And we'll try the D, which is a sixth of that chord. Okay? So those are the notes we're going to try and do. And again, we'll solidify those. The strongest notes are on the top, A, C, E, and G. And then we'll throw in a couple of ones at the end just to see if they'll sound okay. And if they do, maybe it'll be a cool lick that we can use. All right? So let's try that. All right, so the first one that we had already went to the E. All right, the next thing that we can do is try the 1, which is an A. Okay, so here is an A right here at the 3rd string 14th. But we're already hitting that note, so maybe I can go down and bend up to it. That might work. Or I could find another A. Here's another A right here. So that might be one that we can bend to or slide to. Let's give that a shot, either of those. Well, that certainly sounds strong. It's a nice ending. It's not all that inspiring. It's kind of going down, but it certainly is something I could use. Let's try the one going up. That's, in fact, the one that I used before. So that's a great little statement there that I could make maybe after I made my first statement. It might be sort of the exclamation point, if you will, because it's a little bit higher. So that's a good one. I can certainly slide to that top A or play a bend that gets me there. All right, so that works. Let's try the C, because A, C, and E are the chord tones of this A minor chord. So let's try bending to let's try the C. So the C would be right there. There's a 13th fret on the 2nd is a C. I could either play it directly, or I could bend to it from below. Let's try bending to it from below, okay? So I'm going to bend to it from below. You can try whatever you want, whatever sounds good. All right, so here we go. That certainly sounds good. I could try bending to it on the 3rd string. That sounds good too. So all of these sound really good. Let's try now the G, which is the flatted 7th. That's going to sound good. Let's see if it does. That's kind of a interesting one. Maybe in the middle of a solo that would work great. I was trying to bend to this from a minor 3rd. Let's try it again. This note right here. It's an interesting note. I'm not sure it works as strongly as some of the others. So this is very heavy on chord tones. So that's okay. So now we've covered the major ones, A, C, E, or the most important ones, A, C, E, and G. Let's try the B, which is the 9th, and the D, which is the 6th. So we've got a B that's way up here, and we've also got one right here. So I could bend to this D easily enough. Or the B. I'm not sure that really works. It's kind of a suspended sound. It might work, but you definitely have to finish it up with another lick after that. That can't be a closing lick. And then let's try the high D, or the high B, I mean. That sounds a little bit too jumpy to me. If I were just going to do that lick, I might have to build a ladder up to that by getting some intermediate notes. It sounds like a huge jump. Doesn't sound right to me. If it sounds good to you, then you should use it. All right, let's try the D. Here's a D right here. That might be good. That's a nice sound. I like that. That's a good note in the middle of a solo. That might be a really good note to go to. Right? And then conclude it with going to the root on the next lick. All right, let's hear how they sound with the backing tracks. I'll kind of try and name them out. All right? We'll start out with the original one. Here's the original. Here's the root. Very strong. Here's the third. Pretty strong. Here's the flatted seventh. Sounds good with music. That's the ninth. That's the sixth. So honestly, I thought all of them sounded useful. Maybe that the sixth and the ninth were the ones I couldn't use at the end, but boy, they would sound good in the middle of a solo. I thought the flatted seventh sounded much better here than it did alone. But that's what it's all about. Kind of get your ears in tune with what's going on on the song, and just try out different things in that lick. How simple is that? Just try the very last note of the lick, and it almost gives you a different lick, or it gives you a motif that you can use. We haven't talked about musical motifs yet in our simple theory, but musical motifs are what hold a solo together. You have ideas like call and response. This is a very simple way to build up your call and response chops, right? So call and response in the blues is a very strong motif. You hear that all the time. You hear a lick and then a counter lick that's almost the same. It's called call and response. This is a great way to do it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. And yeah, so when you're doing it yourself, when you're trying to end on a chord tone, think about these. Think about the one of the chord, the third of the chord, the fifth of the chord, and the seventh of the chord. Those should be the strongest tones. And then you can think of the ninth and the sixth as well, just to check and see if they work and what they sound like. There you have it, gang. Real simple way to multiply the number of licks that you've got in your arsenal by 4 or 6 or something like that. But more importantly, I think, it's a good way of understanding how you can make a statement on the guitar by changing the voice or the chord, the notes that you're aiming for at the back end based on target chords, right? Target notes within chords. And it's just a powerful way of doing it. It's a good way of getting your ears settled on the right things. Till next time, we'll see you on down the road.